What if you could get paid $200 to $500 per hour just talking about what you already know? I'm not joking. Expert interviews are one of the best kept side hustle secrets, and today I'm going to break down exactly how it works and what my experience with it was. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to sign up, how much you can expect to make, and what the entire process from invite to payment looks like. First up, what even are expert interviews? Expert networks are platforms that connect companies with professionals who have real-world experience. For example, imagine a company like IKEA is trying to explore new ways of improving their delivery service. Instead of only relying on internal reports and surveys, they might want to talk to actual people who have worked in supply chain or warehouse operations to understand what are the biggest pain points, what tools would help, and what is slowing you down at the moment. If that is your area of expertise, you might just talk about it and get paid for it. Now, how to sign up? Signing up is pretty straightforward. You can go to a platform like GLG and fill out your profile. You'll list your job history, your previous experience, what tools you've worked with, what kind of decisions you've been responsible for. And most of the time, you can also just upload your CV or even connect your LinkedIn and it will pre-fill all of these information for you. You don't have to be a C-level executive. People in operations, marketing, IT, or healthcare, all kinds of roles are eligible depending on what the customer needs. For me, I was contacted by a Guidepoint employee via LinkedIn and asked to join the network. From there, I proactively signed up for other expert networks as well. Unfortunately, at the moment, Guidepoint is not allowing unprompted self-registrations, whereas with platforms like GLG, you can just go there and sign up yourself. I will put the links to some of the expert networks that I know in the description down below, including NewtonX, which is specifically looking for experts in B2B industries. Now let's come to the interesting part. How much can you earn? Rates vary depending on your role and your expertise. But once you sign up, the platform will give you a benchmark of what an average hourly rate with your experience and in your industry looks like. Don't sell yourself short though. If you know that you're working in a very specialized industry, you have lots of years of experience, or you simply know what your time is worth, then you can definitely set your rate higher than the suggested average. Now, once you signed up and you feel like you're not getting enough consultation requests, you can still set your rate lower. Be aware though that once your hourly rate is set, it's not that easy to change it anymore. For most of the expert networks like GLG, you cannot change the rate in your profile yourself, but rather you have to contact your coordinator or the member success team to negotiate a new rate with them. Approach changes carefully. If you've set your rate too low and you're renegotiating, emphasize the experience that you gained and the continuous demand of expert interviews in your field. Also, you cannot customize your rate for individual projects. Instead, you have one rate for all types of projects, which could range from surveys to one-on-one interviews to discussion panels, focus groups, and so on. Also, the duration of these projects will vary from anywhere between 15 minutes to 1 hour or even longer. Rates are usually quoted in US dollars, and from what I've seen, typical hourly rates range from 50 to 500 US dollars per hour. To give you an idea, I set my own rate to around 300 US dollars per hour based on 5 years working experience in the banking and consulting sector. Now, what does the process look like? Now, after you've signed up and set your hourly rate, you will be contacted via mail with project invites, including a short project description. From there, you can accept or deny the project. If you accept, you first have to fill out a short questionnaire on the topic through which the client can determine whether you're a good fit or not. It also takes some time to fill out the questionnaire, from my experience around 15 to 30 minutes, which of course is also time that you put in not getting paid and not knowing whether you will get selected for the interview or not. My advice here is to only put effort into filling out the questionnaire if you feel like you actually have experience in this field and you can talk on the required points. Otherwise, it might be a waste of time. But on the other hand, don't let imposter syndrome get hold of you. Now you'll have to indicate your availability and agree to some terms and conditions. You're not allowed to share private or sensitive information on your current employer or previous companies. These platforms take that very seriously, and you always get a reminder before a session. As long as you speak from general experience and keep it professional, you're good. Then you will contact it via mail again, telling you whether you got selected for the interview or not. If you get selected, they will propose a date based on your indicated availability, and you will be sent a link for a video call via mail. For me, usually projects are interviews that last around 30 minutes, with the camera being turned off on both my end and the client end. Interviews will typically be recorded so that they can be transcribed later, which you also have to agree to in the terms and conditions once you accept the project. You will only get paid once the interview actually took place, mostly by the minute. So if the actual length of the interview was 24 minutes, you get paid for 24 minutes and not for 30. For me, a couple of hours after the call has ended, I receive an email from Guidepoint with a link through which I can request payment. This email also includes session details like the date, the duration, or the payment amount. If it's your first session, you will now be prompted to put in your payment details. 3 to 5 days later, the money is usually in my bank account. Now, to give you an idea, I've received around 1 project invite per week, but I've only been selected to 4 or 5 interviews in a span of 3 months. Personally, I think this is one of the most underrated side hustle opportunities out there, especially for working professionals. You don't need to promote anything, you don't need to set up a side business. You simply talk about something that you have actual knowledge about with people who really want to hear it. Extra tip, depending on where you live, the income earned will have certain tax implications. Just make sure to track all of your earnings on a spreadsheet. Keep all of the electronic invoices on a dedicated folder on your laptop, and maybe even set aside money for taxes if you've earned specifically much through these expert networks. In Germany, for example, up to 410 euros per year is tax-free under the self-employed activity. In the US, below $400 per year, you have to file a tax return and pay self-employment tax, which is around 15%. But honestly, it's better to talk to a tax expert for in-depth tax advice. In the description down below, you can also find a spreadsheet that I use to track all of my earnings. If this was helpful for you, give it a like or consider subscribing, as I'm a small channel trying to grow to be able to share my experiences with more people out there. Also, if you want a full walkthrough how to set up your profile on GLG or how to optimize your LinkedIn to be contacted by more of these expert networks proactively, just drop a comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching and see you next time.